In my own personal opinion, Dante's Divine Comedy is literally unsurpassed in all of world literature as religious poetry. Now, that's a broad, sweeping claim, and ultimately one which you, of course, will have to judge for yourself. But let's focus first for a moment on the idea that this is a religious poem. The fundamental meaning of religion is not primarily a question about the existence or non-existence of a god or gods. It's not a question of what name a particular culture or a particular tradition attributes to a god or gods. Religion is fundamentally a question about mystery. And because religion is about mystery, I want to suggest that all human beings, regardless of their beliefs or non-beliefs, they all face the question, what is the meaning of the mystery of my life and my death taken together as a whole? And most fundamentally, the question, does it have a meaning? This is why we always refer to Dante's Pilgrim as a kind of everyman, because he's on a journey which each and every one of us share with him. This mysterious tension, the search for meaning amid the silence of mystery, the struggle for life amidst the necessity of death, not simply as an event of demise at the end of a person's life, but as the relentless, inevitable, inescapable experience that everything that we do, every human activity and relationship in which we participate, has already death inscribed within it at its very center. It's that mystery of life and death for which we must try to discover a meaning. Let me try to illustrate this for you from a scene you're already familiar with from your reading of the poem in the first canto. The story begins in the dark wood, and Dante says he awakes, he comes back to himself again, to find himself lost. I'm going to refer to that experience of being lost as an experience of free fall. Mystery is like that great field of existential gravitational force in which we find ourselves weightless, adrift. That experience of free fall is the experience that gives rise to language. It gives rise to language because of our desperate desire for a lifeline, for something to break the free fall and anchor us, tether us, secure us to something, to a point of reference, very, very often to a person or persons who give our lives meaning, who set the context of the familiar where we begin to feel at home. Family, for example, friends, very, very often for many people, a God. Language is our lifeline to the bonds of relationship that allow us to feel somewhat secure, somewhat safe, and at home. Silence is not simply the terrifying absence of that lifeline of language. It's also the seductive, irresistible invitation to try to make a connection. Poetry is the journey of a few brave souls, we call them poets, to go deeper into the silence and to explore the texture of that experience. The way in which the experience offers us words, invites us to take hold of those words, invites us to run the risk that the words will or will not hold. the words will or will not support the desperate desire for us to be at home. When Dante was exiled from Florence, he underwent the same human experience that Adam and Eve underwent when they were expelled from the Garden of Eden. Exile, the loss of home, the loss of the texture of our connection and bond to everything we value, everything that is familiar to us, everything we need in order to give life a meaning. Given all that we've just said about mystery and meaning, I think it's important we pause here in the earliest steps of our journey and ask ourselves a question. Do I live as if what I don't know about the meaning of life, my life, the life of others, the destiny of humanity, do I live as if what I don't know is every bit as real, and in some ways at least more important than all that I do know? Is life more like a question than anybody's answer to it? When am I closer to the truth? When I have the answer, or when I recognize that if I'm telling the truth, I'll have to say, with regard to the most fundamental questions that we all as human beings face in life, I don't know. And it's not just a matter of not knowing yet. 5 years, 20 years from now, I'll still have to say, I don't know. And the silence that will follow is the same as the silence I experience now. Can a human being be at home in life with death? Can a human being be at home with a silence that is more than just a prelude to more words?